Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, a half-hour sports interview show with host Dave Hornfischer. In this episode, we're going to talk Framingham youth football and cheer with Program Vice President Tony Tolson. Stay tuned. Welcome to Framingham Fan to Fan, a local sports interview show. I'm your host, Dave Hornfischer, and today we're going to be talking Framingham youth football and cheer, and I'm pleased to welcome Program Vice President Tony Tolson and also 7th grade coach. Tony, welcome back. You were here a number of years ago, and it's the program is still flying around, I guess.
Sure is. Thanks. Thank you for having me again.
Why don't you start by just talking a little bit about the program itself, it's a little bit of its history, and then we can get into your various roles.
Yeah, sure. If we want to talk a little history, if we want to go back in time.
Way back in time, the way I understand how Framingham youth football, which would have been Pop Warner at the time, got started was through Ron Burton. Ron Burton, the first Patriot.
The first Patriot,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I know he had family members come through the program. I actually had the privilege to play with a couple of them. One of them now a broadcaster on the local news station. And since then, you know, it's been Pop Warner for a very long time. I played Pop Warner through, you know, in my adolescent years, and you know, I'd say within the last 10 to 12 years, we went from Pop Warner to AYF, American Youth Football.
Okay.
So now that's for us a grade-based program where, you know, if you're a 5th grader, you're playing with other 5th grade kids. That way we felt doing it that way, we felt that, you know, basically if you're 5th grade and, you know, you're with your friends and your classmates and, you know, not a mix and match of
and you'll
kids.
be that way all the way through high school.
And you're
sure.
you're that way all the way through our program. If you start as a 3rd grader, you're 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So.
Well, that's great. So, and then your role now is you're a vice president of the organization. Tell me a little bit about the organization that's behind this. Well, these programs don't just happen.
No. For us, you know, we have a board of directors. Alex Perez is our president. Of course, myself, vice president. Our secretary, Jojo Nieves. And sorry, Jojo, if I pronounce your name wrong. We have a registrar, Athena Roman. We have a swag person, Sonia Fertel. We have our social media person, Heather Claffin. Our treasurer, our most important person, our treasurer. Someone's got to handle all the cash. Corinne Gordon. We have a football coordinator, Rick Utigblom. Cheer coordinator. We actually have 2, Dolly Velez and Jen Phillips. We have another chairperson involved with the program.
I'm glad you didn't bring them all in here. This
I
room
know.
Isn't quite big enough. And then, of course, you have all the coaches, right?
Yeah.
How many, you must have.
A great group of both cheer coaches and football coaches.
Are there more than one coach with each age group? Or?
Yeah. So usually we have a head coach, and we can have up to 6 assistants.
Wow.
So 7 coaches total on a staff.
This is sounding like the Patriots.
Oh,
my goodness.
It's fantastic. And again, we have some former kids that have come through the program, or former coaches that came through the program as kids, went through the high school, played for the high school. You know, now have come back and to volunteer their time. We have, you know, and they're from all different walks of life. You know, we have police officers, and, you know, myself, I do, I'm a building engineer. You know, it's just it's the different things that everybody does, but still finds the time to come back. And I'm gonna point out one particular coach, and I know he's gonna get me for this, but. We have one particular coach that I've met about 12 years ago at the high school, when he coached at the high school. And his he left the high school, started coaching in Seekonk, which was a bit of a travel thing for him. But since then, the last couple of few years, he's actually the head coach for the women's professional team, the Boston Renegades.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so when he called me and said, my young son, Caden, is going to come out and play on the 5th grade team, that was my opportunity right there to recruit him to come in and be a head coach. And he was more than willing and accepted the role, and it's great to have him as well.
So what are the different age groups that you have in this? So how many do you have in each group? Well, give me a few numbers here.
So both on the cheer and football side. Football right now is about 130 participants.
Wow.
Cheerleading is about 83 participants, and they range from 3rd grade all the way up to 8th grade.
So you probably have different goals at each age then, I would gather, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, so, we're there for one purpose, the purpose is to teach these kids football the fun, safe, way, so, they don't get hurt. We try to get them prepared for when they move up and on, I should say, because, generally, if you start with a 3rd grade group, you're more than likely to move up each grade level, until they get to be 8th graders with that team. So you get to see them grow, as a person and as a team. Which
and that's probably especially important in cheerleading because that's kind of risky, some of the jumping around and the twirls they do and the...
Yes, yeah. So they work very hard.
Do they eventually get to doing, what do they call them, when one stands on top of another?
Those pyramids.
Yeah, pyramids.
Like that.
The older groups get to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I know there are some restrictions to what the girls can do, just because, again, of their age and their actual physical ability. But for the most part, like I mentioned, Dolly and Jen and the cheerleading coaching staff that we have. They're absolutely phenomenal, and especially Dolly and Jen, who actually worked tirelessly this year to make sure that the girls will have brand new uniforms, brand new warm-ups, and whatever they need. Yeah.
Well, let's kick this off with a little video here of some people running onto the field and give our viewers a chance to see the little bit of action. There we go. We're just starting this off. These look like young kids, right?
Yeah, this is actually my 7th grade group.
Really?
This is a little preseason conditioning.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and then I think we have a picture of a game coming up here with the. There we go. You said this was a scrimmage, I think.
Yeah, this was a jamboree we did a couple of weeks ago in Medway. Great facility. I don't know if you ever been to Medway High School. No. My gosh, it could be a college campus. It's phenomenal. It's great. They were very gracious and well put together jamboree. But we're facing off there with Brockton.
And then you have a full schedule of games coming up. Yeah, there's another. That's probably from the same game, right?
Same one. Yes, we do. We start off actually a week from this coming Sunday, which would be September 12th. We start off with Natick, and then play a full 8-game schedule from there with playoffs at the end.
And you play your games at Framingham State, I understand.
Another great thing that happened for our program was, again, about 10, 15 years ago, to go to Framingham State and say, hey, can we just play one game, here at your complex, rather than playing at Longfield where we practice, and it just, from there, turned into a great partnership with Framingham State as well.
Well, we showed a couple pictures of the boys playing. Did you have any girls playing football, by the way?
Actually, yes. So Ricky Finley, who's a school committee member, his daughter Olivia, that was the last girl that I have actually coached. So that was a few years ago.
Okay.
I haven't had any since then.
Okay.
But
well, we have a few pictures of the cheer program coming up
Yeah.
here. We can talk about their age groups and some of what their goals are doing. These were the middle age group. I
yeah,
understand?
this is our 5th and 6th grade cheer squad. So pretty interesting thing with them, since they're a combined age grade group. They'll most likely cheer for part of the 5th grade football game and part of the 6th grade football game. Yeah.
And this is the younger kids.
Those are our younger girls. They would be 3rd, 4th graders.
Okay.
Yep.
And then these are the
Those are the 7th, 8th grade girls. That is actually coached by Dolly, who's the cheer coordinator, and Jen Phillips, and they hopefully have high hopes for them to do some fantastic things.
So
this
do
season.
they have competitions too?
Yeah. So they do local, regional competitions where they can actually qualify to do national competition in Florida if they make it.
And I assume just like the football players, a number of them have gone on to cheer at the high school.
Yes.
Who has had an award-winning program, from what I know.
Sue Pereira, who again I think she was the cheer coach when I actually went to Framingham South. I was at Framingham South, and she's still there, and very good ties between the cheer and the 2 cheer programs, which is fantastic.
Do you know if any of the girls from this have actually gone on to cheer in college, or?
That's a good question. I'm not. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, and you said there's about 80 girls in that program.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
And so was that somewhat of a gymnastics type program too? Do they do a lot of
and
the
part
exercises,
of,
workouts,
and part of their routines and stuff like that? Yeah. Again, it's limited to what they can do, just because of their age or grade, but. For the most part, they do a choreographed routine, and then they also do a chair routine, which is kind of combined into one.
And speaking of success, the football program, I know over the years has been very successful. I think we have a couple photos here of a tournament game that you guys were in a number of years ago. Here we go here with.
Oh yes, so this is. This is about 10 years ago this season. This coming in 2011. We were privileged. We were lucky enough to make it down to Florida for national champions. So this game here is.
Do you remember who the running back is?
Edric Bodley.
Okay. Did he go on to play at the high school? Or?
He played a couple of years at the high school before moving to Hudson. I believe he finished out his high school football career in Hudson.
Really? Yeah, it looks like he's going to have a big gain here.
Yeah. So this is a local team, Waukeeva Redskins.
Oh, from Florida?
From Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think we have one of some defenders here making a tackle.
Yep. So that's Jimmy Santiago. He was one of our newer players. When you get to this level here, you've probably been in the program for a good handful of years. So the fact that he was a very good player for us.
Is it just the older groups that get into these tournaments?
Well, no, you can.
Any of them, I guess.
Fifth grade on up to 8th grade can qualify. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so the rules have changed a little bit since since this happened with us 10 years ago. But if we declare that we want to compete at the national level, we're more than welcome to do that.
So then, is there like a regional tournament, a Massachusetts tournament?
Yeah. So you go through obviously your regular season. You go through your conference playoffs. Almost if you can compare it to the NFL. And
so are you in a conference then with Native?
Yeah, so we're in the Bay State Conference, which is basically the same conference as
how many teams in that?
As the high school. We have 12 cities and towns in our conference.
So you have the Natick rivalry.
We have the Natick rivalry. We have again, the Welsleys, Needham, Norwood. All pretty much the same teams that the high school would play. Yeah.
And I think we have one more picture of the tournament game here of you guys all racing out onto the field. Yeah, there we go. And then that looks like Tony right in front.
Yeah.
There you go. This was in Florida too, right?
No, this was actually this was the first round of our New England regional.
Okay.
So
all right.
basically, again, like as I said, we play, through our regular season, our conference championship, which is Bay State. Then we moved on to a Massachusetts championship game. And then it was this game here against Bedford, New Hampshire, in Bedford, New Hampshire. So that's what this photo is showing.
And those are the program cheerleaders cheering them on as you guys
yes,
come
they
out.
are.
So, I mean, that's just such a great coordination of the whole effort here. And I mean, you went through what it takes to pull this together.
It takes a lot. We're doing this year round, Dave.
Yeah.
There's no break for what we do. I mean, once our season is over, we're right back into monthly meetings, getting ready for the next season.
So talk about the enrollment process one has to do to kind of sign up for this. We'll see. We're in September now as we're filming this, but you probably got your recruitment mostly done for this year.
Yeah. So I mean, in these times with COVID, some of the towns were actually able to do a spring session, just like the high schools did with football. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that because we wouldn't have had fields available to us to at least practice and play some games. But generally, in that time frame, March, April, in that time frame, we're starting registration. So when I said, we stopped playing, when we stopped playing our championship tournaments and I want to say late November, beginning of December, we're right back, a few months down the road with starting registrations for kids to sign up again.
You ever played any games in the snow in November?
Actually, yes. One of our first playoff game in that 2011 year, 10 years ago, was at Natick High School, and it had just snowed, and it was like a layer of ice, and we still played the game. We were able to get there early, clear the field off, and still
had an Adam Vinatieri field goal moment in the snow.
That would have been good if we had someone that could kick the ball like that.
Dude, do you actually have kickers in your program? Do you kick extra points?
Yep.
That's
So with us too, extra point kick for us is 2 points rather than the 1 point.
Oh,
because it's harder.
Sure, yeah,
it's harder
that's
for
true,
a kid to kick the ball through the goalpost. Yeah.
Do you ever make any teams ever make field goals? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just you're almost at the high school level with the older kids, and then you're getting into high school fresh. Speaking of that, I understand you also are a high school freshman coach here. Yes.
So our 6th grade coach, Dave Wright, was contacted about coaching the freshman team at the high school. He accepted, obviously with the condition that his 6th grade team was going to come first. The coach up at the high school is very responsive to that. So we kind of hooked up with it, and I said I'd help him out. He was more than receptive, and so now we're kind of basically doing what we've always talked about doing as a youth program and getting these kids ready for the high school.
Coordinating that right into that so it blends in well.
Exactly. So we can start.
That's really evolved over the last couple of years.
Yeah. So we can start to introduce them to, terminology. Plays, formations. All that good stuff. Because that's what a lot of our towns. That's what a lot of the cities and towns that we play. They do. They have their high school coaches involved, deeply involved in their youth program.
And do you coordinate and get your kids to the high school football games? And I
seem
to remember being at a game one time and seeing all of you out there either running on the field or doing something.
Yeah. So we try to do at least something, a couple of few times a year where the kids, they'll do a tunnel, for the high school kids to come to run through, and the high school kids are gracious enough to come over and talk to the kids about grades or, just good sportsmanship and stuff like that.
And they probably know some of them from having been in the
Yeah,
program.
well, I
too.
mean, there's kids that are on the varsity team now that have come through the youth program, obviously, kids that I know, kids that I've coached. So one of the kids in particular is a senior this year, Timmy Sullivan. He's basically almost down at my youth practice with my kids every night helping out, which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, it takes a lot to keep a program. This football is not a cheap sport to play. Is this expensive to be in, or
well, I'll tell you, Dave, for the 12 teams that we have in our conference, I think we're up there in the top 5 as the least expensive program.
Bottom 5.
Yeah. So it's it's expensive at $250
for the whole season.
For the whole season.
Okay.
But again,
and that's 3 times a week, and for how many weeks? So
that's starting
3 or 4 months, right?
Yeah, that's starting at the end of July, beginning of August, going
Mm-hmm.
through to the end of October.
Do you have some scholarships? Or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, we'll never turn any kid away.
Right. Yeah.
That wants to come out and play.
Know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you do have a fair number of sponsors. We have one photo here, one of your leading sponsors, I guess, with a big helmet here of. There
Dix,
you go. With
yes. Again, a relationship that a past president started. That's continued on even to
Where
today.
do you actually use this?
So we'll put this.
Do you still use it, or is that an old?
No, we still use it. We just used it at the cornhole tournament a couple of weeks ago. We'll use it for our little guys and even the big kids, the 8th graders. They love it. They love running through the helmet, coming out at Framingham State and taking the field. We've brought it down to the high school games so they can use it. I mean, this thing is well traveled.
Yeah, I thought I've seen that. It shows up here and there. I know.
Well traveled.
Do you have to pump that up with air? Looks like
that blower
it blows up.
Yeah, that's actually in my backyard because I had to clean it, so I had to give it a little wash down. So I brought it home and cleaned it up.
Full service vice president, that's for sure.
I try.
So you have a bunch of other sponsors too. I know you were talking
about.
So
Let's
give them a little shout out.
Yeah, we have a great relationship with Murphy's Eats and Treats. That's in Ashland, the old Tasty Treats for the old timers that know the area.
Right.
Dolce Leche is another sponsor.
Great sandwiches.
That we
I had one this week.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Fox Pest Control has donated, to the program. Framingham State, obviously, that we mentioned, just again for the great facility that they let us play at. Dix, as you can see with the helmet, and we do a lot of things with Dix. They give back to us as we try and give them the business of kids coming in and buying their accessories and stuff like that.
The kids buy their own equipment. They have their own helmet.
No, we actually provide helmets, shoulder pads, the practice game uniforms, pants.
Not to keep, but
to use
for the season.
To use for the season. So the only thing we're asking families to buy is a pair of cleats, a girdle, which is the pads underneath the pads, and an athletic supporter. And if they want to buy accessories like gloves or sleeves or headbands,
or fancy hats and T-shirts like you have there.
Yeah, and we sell a lot of this stuff too. Sonia, who, as I mentioned, as our swag guru, she puts together a great variety of items that are available to purchase.
Probably sell it to parents too.
Yeah. I mean, she does a great job with that.
So, what are some of the highlights of last year? And last year the COVID thing kind of messed things up. But looking ahead to this year, you got your conference games, and then you may have some playoffs.
I think we're all I'll speak for myself. I'm looking forward to see what our 8th grade team does. 2 years ago, before the 2020 season and COVID hit, they were in a Bay State championship game, a tough, hard-fought game that they lost to Milton to end their season. So, that's what I'm kind of looking forward to see. And just again, we have a lot of new coaches and assistant coaches, And I just want to, I'm excited to see, anxious to see what they put together with their group of kids and seeing how they run their teams.
So safety issues, I guess, are a big issue. I mean, I remember when you were here last time, we talked a little bit about tackling and teaching correct techniques on how to tackle, and probably you start that off at the very young ages.
Very important. I mean, this is the reason why, you know, we start these kids as young as we do, with one, making sure that the equipment that they're wearing fits them correctly, the helmet, shoulder pads, and all that stuff, so you know there are no injuries. And then again, like you said, it's just teaching the right way. We as coaches, we also have to go through certifications through AYF. They require us, or it's mandatory actually that we do certain certifications. One of them is that Seahawk tackling. Well, part of the certifications that we have to do is the Seahawk tackling.
Seahawk tackling.
Yeah, so Seattle Seahawks came out with a video not too long ago, and it just highlighted how their techniques on how they tackle, and the point of that, the whole purpose of the video is to show how they take the head out of tackling.
Yeah, and shoulder and
it's attacking different you know, points of the body, techniques and stuff like that.
Do you have any connection with the Patriots? You mentioned the Seahawks on the video, so.
No, right.
You don't get your kids down to a game or something, or?
We don't. I mean, we have a former player that came through our program that is a Miami Dolphin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Christian Wilkins.
Wow.
Came through our program.
I was going to ask you about success stories.
Yeah,
so
Christian Wilkins. There's another.
Well, what position does he play?
He's a defensive tackle.
Oh, okay, and he's on the team now.
He's on the team now. He went through Clemson, Clemson University.
Wow.
Won a couple of national championships with Clemson.
What was his name again?
Christian Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins.
Yes.
Well, I'll have to look for him.
Yeah, he came through our programs, spent a year or two at the high school, and then moved to Springfield.
Wow.
At Suffolk, I believe, was the.
Well, our time is wrapping up here. Is there any one thing I should have asked you about or talked about? We've covered a lot of ground, I know, and I hope we scored some points with our viewers out there. And
I hope so too. I mean, I would just say, any of you guys that see this and want to see what the program's all about, you know, our schedule should be up on our website soon. It's out, but it's being finalized. Just a couple of little minor details.
The games are Sunday afternoon at Framingham
Games are
State,
Sunday. Well, we start at 8 in the morning.
Do you have a website?
Yep, just fyfc.us.
fyfc.us.
Yep.
FYFC.
Yep.
Great.
And you can find a whole bunch of information there.
Well, Tony, it's been great having you back again.
Dave, thank you again.
We periodically rerun the show from when you were on before, and great guests, and it's great to see the program here continuing, and we're working to be such a great force in Framingham youth activities. I'm sure you get a lot of support from the local community, from Parks and Rec, I know.
Yep.
And all you fans out there are watching Framingham, and fan to fan, this is a Framingham episode, so come back and watch us. We're on AFTV, Access Framingham TV, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and Saturday morning at 7:30. It's 8:30 p.m. during the week. So watch us. This is a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot about sports in the area. So thanks for watching, and good night.